have Tuesday talk today, but we're going to have a change next week. Tuesday talk will be on Wednesday next week. Do not forget, 10:30 Wednesday. Get your calendar out in bed.
I'll send you a bill.
Same time, 10:30, right here. To begin with, we got Robin going to talk to us about the employee gift fund and the ballot issue. You can have the lectern.
I'll take it. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Happy October.
Yes.
Have you had any October jokes yet? Do you know what month was Humpty Dumpty's favorite? October. He had a great fall. Well, okay, see if you like this one any better. Imagine I've got a rock in my hand and I'm throwing it up and down. I read this and thought of you, Frank. This is my Christmas rock. I keep it in my pocket and I throw it at the folks that start playing Christmas music in October. I call it my Jingle Bell Rock. I'm getting a glare from Frank. I guess that's about all the October.
Writing it down, though.
Maybe we'll get down to business here. Maybe you'll be more charitable.
Louder, please.
I'm sorry, I'll hold it right there. Maybe you'll be a little more charitable when you think about the season we are going into, which is the season of giving, all of it. And for us here at Regency Oaks, it begins with the Employee Gift Fund. It begins and ends with the Employee Gift Fund. You saw the letter that came around recently, entitled, "Helping is a two-way street." And all year long, our folks have been helping us. And this is our opportunity to help them. So put it in your heart and in your mind, and you'll see lots of reminders as we go into the next couple of months. You'll see lots of things, a thermometer that will show us how we're doing, and various other enjoyable things. So, we still don't know exactly where we're going to do it. We think we're probably going to end up doing it right here in this space. Okay? But that's okay. We've done it here before. And we have a plan. And it'll all be wonderful. And we look forward to sharing. Now, have you all seen this in your mail? Flyers coming around about a ballot issue. This one looks very, very interesting. And there's lots and lots of material out there about it. If you have a computer, you can go into one site is yesforclearwater.com, but the proponents of this feel that it's very important. This is a referendum to approve revitalizing our downtown area. The big question is, do we want to do it with the people who are putting it together and who have presented a plan for getting it done, or do we want to send it out for bid? That's the question. Downtown's been sitting for over 20 years, just like it is. And this is an opportunity with a plan that's worth your consideration to read about. I don't want to take sides on it, but if you'd like more information about where to get more information, please speak to me. It's supported by literally everybody that supports things like this. Okay? Thank you, and have a great day.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Robin. Appreciate it. All right. So, good morning, everybody. Oh my God, the chords galore down here. I'm going to give this to Ginger. Ginger is going to come up and talk about one of the exciting 2 things that happen every year here.
Yes. So good morning, everyone. I just wanted everyone to know and remind you that this Thursday we're having our anniversary dinner. So what you need to do is make a reservation in your respective buildings. Call the hostess, make a reservation. It starts at 4:30 to 6, so anytime in between. Then down here in Grand Lobby South, we're gonna have our dance celebration. So we'll have cordials, desserts, and we'll have the Mark Decker Band, and they're fabulous. So everyone, please sign up, come down. We're gonna be decorating here that night, and everyone get really dressed up. It's a great event. Okay, thank you.
So, right after Tuesday talk, we have the executive board luncheon, and then immediately after that, I'm going to pick up my tux. So, is Chet here?
No, except they are.
All right, someone tell him to be sure to wear his tux. I don't want to be the only guy here with a tux. Let's not disappoint the ladies, right? Okay. North building renovation. We wanted to talk a little bit about what's happening in the north building. How many north building residents we have? Oh, what? All the north buildings are on this side. I'll just stand right here. North building residents.
That's easy door to come in.
We want everyone's input, so it's not only just our north building residents, but we want everyone to participate. So as a result of the fire, there's going to be an insurance settlement where a large portion of the building is going to be renovated, and it seems like it's the perfect time to do a full north building renovation. So we have incorporated that into our capital budget planning, and we are at the point where we need to start planning and getting ready for that. We have a design committee, and Toby Shugart is heading up our design committee. And so one of the first steps is to come up with a basic color. And so, beige, okay, you sound like the designer who says stick, and that's her philosophy exactly, is stick with a beige or a cream, not a white, but a beige or a cream, and then we will layer in the colors and the texture with the walls and the carpet and the artwork and the furniture and the sconces. But one of the things that she has definitely started with, and she's pushed our decorating committee, is we don't want to go back with a 1970s look. That was very popular when it was done 17 years ago, but it was golds and reds and greens, and it's all those dark classic colors, and that's dated at this point. And so we're looking to do something a little more modern, a little bit fresher, and the starting point is to select a base color. And then from there, we will go and select the trims, the carpet, a matching or coordinating accent color, and then start laying in the furniture and the artwork and that process. So here is the first recommendation from our design team. They have selected two colors. They are very similar. We had a palette of 6 neutrals that we were trying to select. This one on the right is called Neutral Ground. Okay, so that's very neutral. And this one is called Creamy. And so I guess at this point, is any objection to either of these colors? I know it's hard to say, oh, I'm a big creamy fan, but
Where's it going? Where's the basic colors going?
this is the base color, like the walls,
Okay, but
and
not the floor.
not the floor.
Okay.
And so, and it'll be interesting, we'll put it up here.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, so there was,
Oh, yeah, now we can see the difference.
The creamy is awfully yellow.
is this creamy?
The bottom is cream.
This is creamy.
I like the top.
No, I think the top.
So sort of this light one is maybe your preference?
No, that's the cream that's yellow.
This is the preference?
Don't listen to them. We're the ones walking the hallway.
Okay, well, Gene, what do you think?
I like the top one.
You like the top one?
Top
Okay. Can we go wrong with either of them?
No.
Okay.
We've got a 50-50 vote.
50-50 vote.
Yes.
Okay, North residents, you get to be the tiebreaker, top or bottom? Top. All right. So Creamy white. That is called creamy white, all right.
We just won't go over there anymore.
So it's not, the decision is not locked in. Here's sort of the thought, and I'll take design questions in just a second. Here's sort of the thought, is we're gonna send it back to the designer. Here are the two choices. Creamy is the one we sort of prefer. She will take that information and put a color palette of paints back and send it to us. So she'll pick a trim, a color for the bottom half of the walls, and a ceiling color, and then she'll send us back a palette. When we actually, and we may actually have her send two palettes, one for the cream and one for the alternative selection, and then we will get those out. The design committee will get those out to all the residents, and you'll be able to go by and sort of give us some input as to which one you like. All right, design questions. Mitch, I think you were first.
Rather than design renovation, they include the elevators, lights don't work, they're domestic grinding.
No.
Why
No.
can't you do important things like an elevator?
It is, that's a topic for a different discussion. We do have some elevator upgrades that we are incorporating over a 5-year plan. Each one of those elevators, to update it from hydraulic to the new technology, is about $1 million. And so it's a $10-11 million expenditure, and that's not something we're able to do in any given year, but we have started to address that by incorporating it into the capital budget with a yearly update of.
And for the lights and the grinding and all that falling apart.
We'll continue to monitor those elevators like we have for the last 33 years and keep them up and running. Any other design questions?
Are there any, who is on the design committee with Toby? Are there any new people?
Toby, you want to introduce your design team?
Hopefully they have design experience.
Well, Alice Quattromani is one member. Eva Victorio is another member. And Nancy Logan, you understand Nancy, is the other member. And they're very capable.
Thanks. So are you.
So now, one of the things that we're not quite ready, but within the next 30 days, we're going to be ready as this thing starts to heat up. As we start to really dig into this and have to make more decisions and more frequently, the committee is not large enough. We ideally need about 10 to 12 people on this committee. And so if you have an interest in serving, you should contact Toby. Is that who you want him to contact? Or
That's fine.
you want him to contact me? It's up to you.
Contact Brand.
Contact me if you're interested in serving on the committee. Contact me, and we need. So it looks like we're going to need another 8 or 9 people to participate. We want to be able to make quick decisions, move fast, be able to do research, and really dig into the project. And if we only have 3 or 4 people, it's difficult to get a quorum. And so if we're meeting twice a week for an hour or a couple of hours, we just need a larger number so that we have more people to assign homework to. So if you want to do a lot of homework and help dig in to the project, let me know, and we'll add you to the committee.
I think you should describe what we mean by the renovation is not just the hallways.
Oh, yeah. It's a full north building renovation. And so it's all the common areas, our dining room, the activity rooms on each of the floors. It's the office space, it's the bathrooms. It's a full north building renovation. So just an awful lot of work. So I know Gene and Linda, you cannot believe the number of hours that they put in on the bistro pub. And this is, 20 times the size. So we're going to need some workers. All right. That's it on North Building questions. We'll move on. Just a couple of updates on COVID. This is COVID around the world. You can see by the size of the dot and the intensity. Look at the U.S. We look in really, really good shape. COVID is not much of an issue here, and you can see that that's pretty much true for all of North America. So our neighbors to the north and south also look really good. Where are we seeing the outbreak? It's Europe. That continues to be the hot spot across the globe. I wanted to remind you on this next slide. You've seen this before. The prediction is it's going to go up like a rocket and drop like a cannonball. That's what we anticipate. It's going to look a lot more like a flu season, where you're going to have an outbreak within a building. It's going to be quick, it's going to be rapid, it's going to be in large numbers, and then it's going to get out of here. We have 13 communities in the portfolio. Currently, we have an outbreak in Michigan. It's following that exact pattern. One day they had nothing. Within 7 days, they had 130 residents with COVID. That's how it's going to happen. It's going to be very, very much like the flu. It is going to, if it comes into the building, it's very contagious, and it's going to go up like a rocket and then drop like a cannonball. No one in our Michigan facility, it's Holland, Michigan, we had no fatalities. We had one hospitalization, and it's a very quick recovery, 3 to 4 days. And so we just want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to make sure we're prepared. And that brings me to the next slide. Our clinic last week, we administered 126 doses, so about a third of our population. I know many of you had already gotten your COVID vaccine specifically for the BA5. It is still available. You can go to Walmart, you can go to your pharmacy, your grocery store. A lot of people have it. We also have access to it and can provide individual vaccinations. We try not to do it on one-on-one. We take a list, and when we have 14 people, that's one vial is 14 doses. So when I get 14 people, I'll invite you in and administer it to those 14 people. Get it. You don't have to get it here, but you should go and get it somewhere. And it's going to become just like the flu shot. Every year, you're going to get a flu shot and you're going to get a COVID shot. And so, speaking of that, here's where we are with our flu numbers. Every year we ask that if you don't get your flu shot here and you get it somewhere else, to please report it so that we know. We're trying to build herd inoculation and keep the herd safe. So far, those people who have gotten the shot at their doctor's office or an outside pharmacy and have reported it, it's only 11 people in the north and 12 in the south. So if you have gotten that elsewhere, could I ask you to do us a favor and report back to the front desk that you've gotten it so that we can track the herd immunity. We're trying to get up around 80%. That's where you get the inoculation factor, and it protects all of us. Not included in those numbers are the flu shot clinic that we had last week, where we administered the dose to 63 residents. And next slide. Just a reminder, tomorrow between 12 and 4 is the second flu shot clinic. And then the following Wednesday, the 19th, is our final and last clinic. So you have 2 more opportunities here at Regency to get the flu shot. And if you go outside to your doctor or to your pharmacy to get your flu shot, please call the front desk and let us know that you have done that as well. Okay? Yes, sir.
Well, residents of Sylvan will actually get the flu shot.
Yes, and so residents of Sylvan, both our assisted living and our skilled nursing, have an opportunity to get the flu shot as well. Over there, because it's a licensed building, it's by physician order. You do not need a physician order on the independent living side in order to get the flu shot.
You misspelled flu.
Autocorrect, I love it. It's a flu, it's a chimney. All right, construction update. Hey, this is worthy of a celebration and some, put your hands together. Windows are on site, and the installation of our windows will start next week. Yay! That thing has been holding us back, and we just were not going to make a lot of forward progress until those windows got here. So they are actually on site. I've seen them with my eyes. Once the windows are installed, the building can be stuccoed and sealed, and that's where you get the true water protection. It's the stucco and the paint that seal the building to penetration, water penetrations. And so that will start to occur once the windows are up. They're thinking the window installation will take about 10 days. They are on a 6-day-a-week construction schedule at this point because they're trying to get caught up. This week, we're anticipating the low voltage and framing inspections. So you already know that we have passed the electrical, the plumbing, and the mechanical. And so these are the last 2 inspections that we have to have a sign off on before they actually can start hanging sheetrock. And so if we successfully pass these inspections, we'll be able to go to the rocking stage, which is next. And then also this week, they're going to be finishing up the roofs for the walkway that connects the buildings. So busy week of construction, and things really should start to take off now that the windows are here. Okay, so I did such a terrible job of would you help me pass these, ladies? And I think I need one. Thank you, I appreciate it. So I did such a poor job of presenting the landscaping, and I thought I'd take another crack at it, and I figured I couldn't possibly do any worse than we did the first time. So Chris gave me some good feedback, and he said, you know, it was good information, but visually it just wasn't very, you didn't have the right tools to help us see what it's going to look like. So we're going to take a look today at landscaping, and I gave everyone a key so that you'll be able to follow along, and then I also have some photographs of the specific plants that you can see. So we just want to orient this to start with. So your map should look a little bit like this, because we're facing north, and here is the well, you're right. Here's the new town hall, and you can see the stage. It's abutting right here, and over to the right of this. So on this side is the south building. So you probably ought to have your key looking like this. So the stage is right up here on top, and that will give you an orientation. So you've got the new construction, the beauty salon, here is the new deck, and here is the existing town hall. One more. All right, everyone with me so far? Now I've color coded this, and so you'll see some yellow, some pink, some blue, some orange, and some purple. And I've gone around the perimeter of the building where all the new plantings are, and I've identified by color and by plant type. And then as we go through on this next slide, we're going to take a look at each one of them. And so this is the Xanadu philodendron, and that is in the yellow. And so as you orient this, you can see that there is just a tiny bit of these yellow right over here by the existing town hall. And that's because we already have that plant. And so that's what they're trying to do, is transition the landscaping behind the existing town hall into the new breezeway, and then kill it off right there at the end of the construction. So that's more of a tie-in right there. And here's what the Xanadu looks like. It's a small bushy plant that can actually develop some size. All right, and then the next one. This is the dwarf Indian hawthorn, and that's the pink. And so you can see that there is quite a lot of the dwarf Indian hawthorn. There are 273 plants. And you can see it, there's a section right here in front of the new patio, in the corner, both corner of the building as it faces toward the east. And so as you're looking from the road, you're going to see a lot of the Indian hawthorn. And the reason for that is its color. It's bright, and they chose a combination of white and pink so that we'll have a little contrast. And so that's the dwarf Indian hawthorn. So this is the white African iris, and on your map it's the blue. And so this is the area primarily right behind the stage. It gives you a big pop of color, and then it's also right here at the stage, or at the entry to the town hall. So as you're walking into the new town hall, on your left-hand side as you're walking in, there's just this huge mound of the white African irises. So they're colorful and they're pretty, and they're annuals, so that they come back every year. All right, next one. This is the emerald goddess Liriope, and this is the orange in your drawing. So along the walkway, the new walkway that goes to the emergency exit, and this is what you will see in the from this view and from the very first apartment as you walk up that walkway. That's what you're going to see there. It's also a large planting between the entry of the building and back to where we see the Indian hawthorn. And so that whole area has been filled in with the emerald Liriope. And again, this is a colorful plant. So they've really focused on trying to not only give us some different texture and some shapes and sizes and a layered look, but they also have tried to focus on things that produce a color. And so that's the emerald goddess. And then the next is the dwarf Asiatic Jasmine, and this is just a ground cover. It is purple, and you can see a number of beds right out front. And what is unique about that is these are centered. This is the ground cover underneath the larger trees, shrubs, and bushes that will anchor the landscaping. And so you won't find that on your map, but here's what those anchors look like. There are 19 of them, and these are larger, bigger products that will anchor this entire plan as it starts from here and works away around through the front. So the first set of anchors is I'm sorry, I forgot about that one. See that little black area? When I finished this whole thing, I said, ooh, I missed this. See the little black area where I've outlined it? That's the Dwarf Barbacoa. Dwarf Barbacoa. And so there are those two little teeny areas where they've fit that in.
Not very colorful.
No, not very colorful there.
P-Wing will be unhappy.
So next, all right, so here are, remember I said, now we're at the point where here are the 19 larger trees, shrubs, and plants that anchor the whole landscaping plan. And so there are some Sable Palms, which you see on the right-hand side, and then these very large cardboard palms that I had seen before, but I had no idea that's what they were called. So that's what those look like. Sable Palm is, you see, we have tons of those across the property, so everyone's familiar with the Sable Palm. And then here are the next two. It's the Bird of Paradise and then the Dwarf Southern Magnolia. And so as you might be able to see, there are some little white circles here and there, and you can see there's a circle 5 foot, 6 foot diameter, 4 foot diameter. Those are all the trees. And so some of that ground cover goes at the base of the tree, but that's where those 19 plants will go, and they anchor the landscaping. Okay.
Fire exits, about 7 stages. There'll be fire exits, the stage at the top of the fire breaks out here. One little tiny exit, fire exits.
So there are no fire exits at the stage. And so there are 4 exits out of the building and none on the east side, and that's by design. Oh yeah. And it's it's always there was a lot of discussion about that, and as to whether or not there needed to be extra exits off of the north and or off of the east side, and ultimately we decided against it. We have enough exits in the back of the room that it gives us. We don't want people running into a fire, a controlled area, and so we wanted to limit the number of options. It's actually safer than providing multiple exits like an arena. And so in the event of a fire, there is a fire door on the left, there are 2 in the rear, and both of those lead to 3 additional exits. So that's our best bet for traffic flow.
You know, I'm saying,
Seemed like there'd be more
looks very pretty from the street.
chance of fire here.
People on the
than
P wing,
here.
you're not providing any kind of height and plantings against the brick wall.
That's true.
Low hedges, you and I, last show, we went out, you are not providing any kind of height and plants along that wall.
Or color.
Well, and so let's talk about that. And so, there are some anchors on that south side that faces the P-wing. There are some anchors. There are not any gigantic, huge trees, and the reason for that is we don't want trees planted up next to the building because of the problem it creates with roots. But Lou, you and I have also spoken about making sure that in the existing landscaping that we have to come back in here and put in a couple of trees that are not close to the P-wing and not close to the new construction. And and you're right, because that's not going to be part of this budget. It's going to have to come from my capital budget.
We've got to do something right to view of the brick wall and the apartments.
Yeah.
What about some color? There's no color.
There's a ton of color.
No, not along here.
Where?
Not along the building.
There's a ton of color. What are you talking about? I don't understand.
There's the P-wing.
Right. This is all color. From there forward is nothing but color.
Here's the P-wing.
Yeah.
There's no color difference.
There's a ton of color. That's all color. From this point up to this point is nothing but color.
I know, it's way back. This back here.
It's 3 feet wide. You can't get anything in there but a hedge. That's the problem. Along the walkway, you have this much space, and there's just, you can't get anything in there with color. So there's been a lot of discussion about vines and murals, and the P-wing residents, as I understood it, sort of voted down the mural idea. They're not interested in having birds or turtles painted on that wall. They want to look at something soft. There is nothing that would prevent us from adding vines, but I think, my recommendation is we probably get this landscape in and see what we have before we start adding vines. But certainly that's a possibility, and we will take direction from our P-Wing residents. They're the ones who have to look at it, and so they're the ones that are going to get a priority listening.
Is all this shrubbery maintained by outside contract?
Corey?
Who does the oversight to ensure the contract is maintained?
A couple of people. It's our Building and Grounds Committee in Darwin. Earl, did you have a question back there?
No, I was just going to suggest ivy covered wall.
Mm-hmm.
The birds are wall and maintain all the I'm
Yes. So ivy is a very fast growing plant. It will go right up those walls. They're concrete stucco walls. It makes no difference to the structure of the building. I mean, it's not a dangerous thing to do to your building. I just think we get the landscaping in, and then we will let the people on the P-Wing who have to look at it give us some additional direction as to what they would like to see. I think that's the right thing to do.
I walk around the facility quite often, and the construction people are parking their cars and trucks on top of the roots of the beautiful trees out there. I suggest that something be done to rope off the roots of those trees so that we can hang on to them.
So, great idea. One of the, everybody knows it, nobody wants to discuss it, but let me broach the subject. So, there is that beautiful, old, magnificent oak right in the center. And if you haven't noticed, it is dying. It's not going to be saved by an arborist. There's nothing we can inject into it. There's nothing we can fertilize or water that's going to save it. It's old. It's reached its natural life, and it's dying. And so I don't know if we'll get 2 years, 3 years. I don't know. But if anyone who has looked at it can see that it's not healthy. It's not. The canopy is not full. It's very sparse. The limbs are getting old and brittle. It's ready for a fall. And so at some point as a community, we're going to have to decide what we want to do. It's not a danger. I mean, it's not that the limbs are not falling unexpectedly, and it's not listing. So it's not a danger, but it's not very healthy. And so we're going to have to decide whether we take that out or whether we do something else. But we've talked to the arborist. It's not a matter of injecting it and trying to save it and doing heroic measures. It's dying. It's old. And so we're going to have that discussion. I'm trying not to draw any analogies.
So move it to Sylvan.
Move it to Sylvan, there we go. So we don't have to make that decision today, but that's maybe that's a challenge we'll give to Don Hamilton and the Building and Grounds Committee. Let them wrestle with it.
Can you rope off the root area on those huge trees right around the group?
Yeah. I captured that. I'll talk to him. All right. So just one more reminder here. Next Wednesday, no Tuesday talk, as Chris shared with you. It's Wednesday the 19th, 10:30, full resident meeting. What is the new monthly service fee, and what are the factors that impact the increase? So we'll have a presentation and share that information with you next Wednesday. And I think we're at the end, and we'll open it up for questions.
Wait for the microphone.
have a question. The hurricane knocked over part of the fencing that hides the equipment and the chemicals for the pool. It's still laying on the ground. When's that gonna be fixed?
So, I know that, I knew that it had blown down, but I don't have a date. I know that CDS is doing the work, and they're doing it when they install all the new fencing that is going out by the garden area, the irrigation pumps, and then there's a section here on the west side. And so they're just all going to do it all at once. And I don't know if they're waiting for materials or if they have a set date, but I'll do an update next week. I'll give a date. Will you capture that? Thank you.
I asked John, I guess he's the foreman from the construction, I deal with him every day, because he's always in the craft room doing something and leaving dirt. And I would ask him if he could just get a can of paint and paint that room so it'll be done. He said he can't do it until the whole building is ready and then they get the painters in. Is there anything you can do for us?
No. and so here's the way the trades work. And you know, they agreed to do this for a price, and in order to do it at that price, efficiency is very important to them. And so when the framers are in, they do all the framing. When the drywallers are in, they do all the drywalling. When the plumbers are in, they do all the plumbing. Same thing with the carpet and the paint guys. They aren't going to paint one room and then 3 weeks later come back and paint the beauty shop or the town hall, or when the paint crew is here, they're going to paint everything. And from an efficiency standpoint, it makes a lot of sense for the trades. From a resident's perspective, it's like, why can't you just go in there and paint it? It's one day and you're in and out, and then you're out of our hair forever and we don't ever have to see you again. And so I understand your perspective, but there's not even a painter on site. And so all construction people are not created equal. You do not want a drywaller painting, and you probably don't want a painter hanging drywall. So we just have to wait for the proper tradesmen to be on campus, and those painters will be here when we're ready to start with the painting.
I wonder if there's any consideration to doing something about making the inside door actually into the facility from the service entrance, similar to the way the outside door is.
There is no
Heavy.
there is no consideration whatsoever. And the reason for that is the fire marshal, the fire code, prohibits the use of an assistive device on any door that opens into a corridor. And that's why in both of our service entrances, you will find those automatic door openers on the exit, but you won't find it on the interior door in either building. And that's because it's code. And so at least it's something we'd love to do. I get lots of requests to do that, but it is against code.
At one point, I thought you said that the suites would be available after the first of the year. Is that still?
So we are anticipating that the guest suites will be released after the first of the year. There is a possibility that we may have some availability during the Christmas holiday. Because we know that many of you have family. Our priority is taking care of our residents, and but let's just see where we are with the construction. Phase 1 is completely done. Phase 2, which is maybe 16 residents, is just about finished. Phase 3 is a little bit more extensive. And the good news about phase 3, most of the people who are in phase 3 had significant damage, and they've already been housed elsewhere. And so there's not going to be a need to relocate them while we finish up construction. So there is a possibility that those guest suites may be turned over for the holidays, and then certainly after the first of the year.
I wonder if there's been a change to the code, because in the medical arts building, they have now put the automatic doors on the restrooms on the first floor, and they come out right on the corner.
It's a residential building as opposed to a commercial building.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's a great question. That's how, she was saying, if you go to like a medical arts building, they have it on all the doors. It's because it's not a residential building.
Have handicap bars been installed in the hospitality suites?
Handicap bars?
Yes.
I don't know the answer to that. Anyone know? No, we don't think so.
Yeah.
Showers
and toilets should have.
Yeah. In the models?
No.
Just-
Suites in the hospitality suites.
Yeah. I don't know. Great question. I'll find out.
Actually, Frank, they do not, because I'm
They do not?
in a hospitality suite. And I was thinking they needed a bar in the bathroom area.
Thank you. So,
But you're in a Triad suite, right?
Albany.
Yeah. You're in the Albany?
Yes.
What are you doing in the Albany? Okay. Because I don't have you in the Albany. Are they working on your,
She went
your new
yesterday.
unit?
Yes.
Oh, okay, gotcha, okay. All right, I keep track of all the chicks here. All right, so we'll look at that. That's a great question. I don't have the answer to it. Hazel says that they don't, and if it's our guest suite, they probably should have handicap accommodations.
What is the primary reason for the high constant staff turnover?
Gosh, we could write a book on that. So the question is, what's going on with the high staff turnover? And so the first thing that I would tell you is, yes, we had a tremendous amount of high staff turnover starting in October 15th of last year, when we had 101 staff members walk out the back door because they chose not to get a COVID vaccine. And so we lost a third of our staff on a single day. And did we struggle? Absolutely. And so as we rebuilt the staff, one of the things that was happening is because a third of our workforce had walked out the door, what do you think we did to our existing workforce? We overworked them. We worked them to the bone. They were working 60 hours a week, and they were doing overtime and picking up shifts. And what a great workforce they are. I mean, dedicated and committed, and they wanted this job to get done, and they were vested in our residents, in our mission. And so we're very, very grateful for the ones who stuck. Did we lose more because of the working conditions? Yeah, there's absolutely no doubt. But here's one of the things that is interesting to note. As we approach full staffing, and remember, we are staffing today is at the same level as it was pre-pandemic. We have as many associates on our rolls today as we did in December of 2019. So we essentially are at full staffing, and our retention numbers are greatly improved. The number of people who leave after a short period of time, we are in the top 5 in the company, not the portfolio, in the company for employee retention. So my take on that is, John, we had a traumatic event that happened. It took us 6 months to recover and get back to full staff, but we're doing all the things that we need to do to attract and retain long-term associates, and the numbers are showing that the indicators are showing that we're pretty successful in that. Right now, as we are talking, we started the associate engagement survey. It's their satisfaction survey. Yesterday, we had about 110 people complete the survey. So in a single day, we had more than a third of our staff complete the survey. And that survey is going to give us more information. It will give us a look back to let us know how satisfied the associates are, what do they think of us as an employer, and how likely are we that they're going to stick with us over the coming years. So a lot of improvements and a great story to tell.
Brent, if we're approaching full staffing, why can't we move breakfast and lunch into the pub?
And so the numbers, and so that's a great question. So like, I want you to think of a football team. They have 40 people on the football team, and they have one down on injured reserve. They have 39 people. Are they near full staffing? Yeah, 39 out of 40 is good. If that person who's down is Tom Brady, you think you're going to win any games? Probably not. And so that's what is happening. If you look at the raw numbers, we are absolutely approaching full staffing. I think our housekeeping is now down to one full-time. We have one out on an FMLA, a maternity leave, and we have a couple of part-timers who are unable to work right now, but are still, we'll get them back in the next couple of weeks. Dining is probably the where we are impacted the most, and why is that? It's because our young servers those are the ones who are not available, and they have not come back to the workforce, and so we haven't figured that out. And so you have heard me say that, you know, this year they got pretty significant increases. They went from making about $10 an hour to making $13-14 an hour. I think it's $14.10 is the starting wage for one of the servers. And in January, we're increasing them again because we're trying to be competitive and attract them because the employment situation is changing. I walked into a Wawa the other day, and right there on their door, starting wage $15 to work at a convenience store. And so it's an evolving situation. It's a changing economy, and the workforce dynamics are very, very different than what they were just a year ago. And so we anticipate that we will continue to struggle to find the young high school kids who are willing and able to work.
They wouldn't be running the pub breakfast and lunch anyway.
Well,
We have leases.
well, because it's yes and no, but here's what happens. It's because I'm short up out front, I'm having to pull people who used to do other things now to support me in the back of the house. And so it's a process. I mean, 2 weeks ago, I couldn't do anything but a buffet. Now we're back to full service in the dining room. And, you know, I think, has Ricky announced, has the gastropub reopened?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's supposed to have reopened yesterday, did it?
No, last week.
Last week, okay. So, you know, it's baby steps. And so, you know, as you look at it, you can say, well, we've made progress. You know, 2 weeks ago, it was buffets only and the gastropub was closed. Now we're back to regular sit-down dining, and the pub is open. The next step will be to open for breakfast and lunch. So I know you'd like it immediately. I know you'd like it tomorrow, but we're just not there yet. And I'd rather not do it than to do it poorly.
So that's the same scenario for breezeway meals also?
For what?
For on the breezeway grills and...
Do you have an opening date for the grill on the breezeway?
No. Ricky and Johnny were talking, it would have to be them, but they're cooking because they're short cooks, so.
Yeah.
They'd like to do it the end of October, but they don't know.
Yeah.
if they-
Yeah, it's something they're actively discussing. I don't think we have an answer. But this is the time to do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except it's 90
Brianne,
days.
are the servers limited to a certain age? Can we look at older people that could be servers, not just young?
Yeah. So here's sort of the problem with older non-teenagers for this position. It's a 2.5-hour job. You know, you come in at 4:30 and you're out the door by 7 o'clock. And so it's or 8, depending on how short we are. But it's really hard to go and get someone who's raising a family and needs to work 40 hours a week, it's hard for them to make a living working 2.5 hours a day. And so, and the other thing, professional waiters, are they going to come here? No, we don't have tipping. And where do servers make their money? They do it on the tips. It's not what we pay them on an hourly basis. Even if it's $14.10 an hour, that's not where they make their money. They make it on tips. And so it's just we're not competitive with the hotels and the restaurants where they're getting a wage and a pretty healthy tip.
It seems to me that it's a misnomer to say we're at full staff, because if we were at full staff, we would be having the tavern open.
Yes. So that's why I say approaching full staff, and our staffing levels are where they were in 2019. We have about 20 vacancies, which is exactly where we were in 2019. So if you use the definition of full staff, meaning that you're never going to have anyone who's not here and have no vacant positions, yes, we're not at that, but that's not our standard. You're always going to have some vacant positions. Same way with our apartments. When we talk about marketing, our expectation is that we're never going to have every single apartment taken. We're always going to have apartments under construction, under deposit, under move out, people who have given notice but are still here. And so if you divide 20 into 352, which is the full number of full-time FTEs, what that works out to a pretty small percentage. I can't do the math. 7 or 8%, Chris says. So I think it's understanding that we'll never truly be at full staff. Gone. All right. Thank you very much. I really appreciate you coming out.